My name is Michael. I met my wife Amanda through a friend's introduction. She was cheerful and sociable, and we immediately hit it off when we first met. As we went out for meals a few times, I started to have feelings for Amanda and began dating her. After dating for about 2 years, we both started thinking about marriage, began living together, and registered our marriage the following year. We had a grand wedding, thinking it's a once-in-a-lifetime event. Our mutual friends performed some entertaining acts, making the ceremony memorable. Married life was pure happiness. We both worked, but Amanda's job did require much overtime, so she always came home first and prepared dinner for us. "Michael, welcome home. Today's dinner is pork cutlet." Knowing that I loved meat, Amanda cooked meat dishes 3 times a week, considering a balanced diet. All of Amanda's homemade meals were delicious, and I truly felt lucky to have her as my wife. That is, until that time. It happened one day, almost 3 years into our marriage. I started to notice that something was off with Amanda. She no longer cooked dinner and waited for me, and she often went out after work, leaving me alone at home. Previously, even when I came home late from work, there would be a homemade meal on the table, but now it was mostly frozen food or supermarket dishes, which made me feel somewhat lonely. However, Amanda also worked, and I was busy at work, making it hard for us to spend time together. I told myself that she probably wanted her own time while I was working overtime, and I didn't consider her feelings enough. This went on for about 2 months, and I finally decided that I needed to change something. As my work had calmed down, I took some paid leave and planned to go to a hot spring with Amanda. When I came home, Amanda was lying on the sofa reading a fashion magazine. I hadn't heard her say welcome home recently. "Amanda, I took some time off work, the week after next. How about we go to a hot spring and relax together?" Without taking her eyes off of the magazine, Amanda replied, "No, I don't feel like it." I couldn't understand her response and was momentarily at a loss for words, because I had researched various accommodations and nearby restaurants, planning to present her with a travel plan. "Hey, I've been so busy lately that I couldn't pay attention to you, right? I thought you might be lonely without me, so I wanted us to go to the hot spring together and spend some quality time together." I thought Amanda would also be unhappy with our current situation. I wanted to create some time for us and rebuild our good relationship. However, Amanda's response didn't change. "It's totally fine the way it is now. Even if you're not around, I have things to do. Don't worry about it." In the end, her gaze remained fixed on the magazine. I couldn't figure out why Amanda would act this way, and I went to sleep that night with a heavy heart. I didn't sleep well, and the next morning I left the house with an awkward atmosphere between us. But since I couldn't focus on work, I decided to consult a coworker during lunch break. "Hey, can I talk to you for a bit? It's not really a fight, but I had this thing with my wife yesterday. Could she be cheating on you? I mean, you don't have any other clear reasons, right? I can't think of any other reason for her to suddenly become so cold." Cheating. The word echoed heavily in my mind. I never thought that this could happen to Amanda, but once a third party said that she was cheating, my suspicion grew and my health started to deteriorate. That day, I couldn't focus on my work and decided to leave early. When I got home, I went straight to the bedroom, took off only my suit jacket without changing into my home clothes, and collapsed onto the bed. There was still some time before Amanda would come home. I decided to sleep until then, and felt a little more at ease in the cool, dimly lit room with my eyes closed. Because I hadn't slept well the night before, I quickly became drowsy and was almost half asleep when I heard the front door close, and the sound of a woman's laughter, and multiple people entering the house. I woke up and listened carefully to the noises. I could tell the voice was Amanda's. At first, I thought she had come home, but when I heard an unfamiliar male voice, my suspicion of her cheating grew. I could hear footsteps approaching the bedroom where I was, and my heart raced rapidly. No! Amanda said that while opening the bedroom door. She hadn't expected me to be there and looked surprised for a moment, but then spoke in a mocking tone. "Oh, Michael, why are you here?" "I wasn't feeling well, so I left work early and went to bed. Weren't you supposed to be at work, Amanda?" "I took a paid day off and went out." Amanda said that without showing any concern for my health, and glanced at the tall man standing behind her with his arm around her shoulder. "You went out." I wanted to tell the man not to touch my wife, but I felt nauseous and had a headache, so I could only say that weakly. "Well, you already know, right? I'm cheating on you with this guy, and it's all your fault, so I won't apologize." Amanda stood defiantly, with her arms crossed, and said that to me. I couldn't believe she admitted to cheating so easily, and I was just confused. "Stop making that face now. You've ignored me for so long. Scott treats me like a woman, and being with him heals my heart. He's sensitive to current trends since he's a company president, and he's always exciting and fun." I recognized the man's face that Amanda praised. Then it clicked when she mentioned he was a company president. President of XYZ company? The man standing there was the president of a client company I was working with. He had become famous in the industry after starting his business in his 20s. I had visited his company for business and exchanged business cards with him. "Why?" I asked Amanda. "Like I said earlier, that's why, but I don't mind getting a divorce." Hearing the word divorce, I wanted to stop Amanda, but she tried to leave the room with Scott. "Hey, are you okay with this? Just ending your marriage so easily?" But Amanda said, "It doesn't matter anymore," and tried to take him with her. "Well, I'll make sure Amanda's happy, so don't worry." Scott flashed a refreshing smile at me and left the room with Amanda. After that, I got a divorce and received alimony, but I became mentally ill and had to take a leave of absence from work for a while. The reason for Amanda cheating was that I prioritized my job and couldn't spend time with her. Amanda started hanging out at bars alone to kill time, where she met Scott. Amanda had a personality that made it easy to get along with people she just met, so it didn't take long for her to get close to Scott. During my time off work, a colleague I had consulted about the cheating before contacted me and told me that Scott's company, which was a client, had withdrawn from New York due to a headquarters relocation. With this, even if I returned to work, there would be no chance of dealing with Scott's company, and I felt a little relieved. Several years passed since those hellish days, and I managed to recover mentally. By a twist of fate, I met a wonderful woman and decided to remarry. I had changed jobs and moved to a rural area, but it was a more comfortable town, with abundant nature compared to the city. My married life was going well, and I was living a peaceful life. But I ended up getting involved in another incident. On a day off, I was out alone, and a police officer called my name and stopped me. Of course, I had no idea I had done anything wrong, but I had a bad feeling, so I decided to go to the police station. When I arrived at the police station and was taken to a room, there was my ex-wife, Amanda, waiting for me. As soon as Amanda saw my face, she started yelling excitingly. "Aha, this guy, officer, this guy, he's the stalker. He's been following me around. It's so creepy." "Huh? Stalker? What are you talking about?" "How shameless. There's a limit to how much you can harass someone after breaking up." I couldn't digest what Amanda was saying in the situation, so I asked for an explanation. But Amanda just kept accusing me, and I couldn't see the main point of the story. Then a police officer brought in a man. It was Scott. "Hey, I heard from Amanda that you've been quite persistent. It's been years since the divorce. Do you still have feelings for her?" I didn't want to hear that from the person who caused the divorce. but I asked the police officer who brought Scott in to explain the situation. It turned out that Amanda had been stalked by someone for a long time, and she had reported me to the police because the stalker's appearance resembled mine. The police investigated and found out that I had recently moved to this town, so they asked me to come in for an interview. I understand the situation, but Amanda, I didn't know you guys were living in this town. Yeah, right. Who would believe a criminal's excuse? I felt anger welling up at Amanda's dismissive words, but the police officer calmed me down. Is there anyone who can prove your innocence? At the police officer's words, I decided to have someone come to the police station. A few minutes later, the person that I chose arrived, and Scott, seeing her face, cried out in astonishment. You, Elizabeth? Hi, big brother. It's been a while. That's right. When I remarried, I married Scott's sister. Scott and Amanda, who didn't know the situation, seemed to be panicking. Actually, Scott's affair with Amanda was discovered by their parents, who cut ties with him. Scott's parents were the presidents of a company that ran several businesses, and knowing that their son had hurt someone, they decided to take care of me. At first, I didn't want to face the family of her lover, but as I got to know them, I felt my heart calming down. After spending time together, I ended up falling in love and marrying Elizabeth, Scott's sister. Are you kidding me? I haven't heard anything about this. Scott yelled at us, but Elizabeth, being used to her brother, argued back. Well, I do have an obligation to inform someone who doesn't even consider us family anymore. Besides, during the time you said Michael's ex-wife was being stalked, he was actually having dinner with me at the hotel's restaurant. You should be able to find our names on the reservation list. And if you ask the sommelier who served us wine, he should be able to confirm it. I was finally cleared of all charges. As we left the police station, grateful to Elizabeth, Amanda and Scott followed us and grabbed Elizabeth's shoulder. Wait a minute. Did you really marry this guy? He failed in the city and ended up in a rural area. You'll regret it if you marry someone like him. That's right, he neglected me a lot when we were married, too. It seems these two will do anything to ruin our happiness. As Elizabeth shook off the hand on her shoulder, a luxury car pulled up in front of the police station. Seeing the person who got out of the car, Scott exclaimed, Oh, Dad? Scott's father glared at his surprised son and said, I have no reason to be called Dad by you. More importantly, it seems you have been quite rude to my daughter and son-in-law. Well, can't be helped, can it? Are you really okay with Elizabeth marrying this loser? What's with your attitude toward the heir to my company? If anyone's a loser, it's you. Your business only succeeded because of good luck, and you've been acting all high and mighty without even understanding proper management. You have no right to badmouth Michael. Yes, I had moved to this town to study as a successor of my father-in-law's business, and had changed jobs to a group company in this town. Defeated, Scott dropped his shoulders, and Amanda desperately tried to talk to him. Hey, what does this mean? You said you'd inherit the company. That's right, Scott's company is doing well, right? If we work hard to grow the company. What? You haven't heard? His company is on the verge of bankruptcy, and considering his excessive spending, he's probably in debt too, isn't he? That's... Scott fell silent. Having been hit with the truth by his father, Elizabeth added the final blow. Big brother, you told Michael's ex-wife that you'd definitely make her happy. But it seems you're all talk, aren't you? And to believe that, I wonder how much you lack in judgment. And so, the stalking suspicion against my ex-wife was cleared. After that, Scott's company went bankrupt, and Amanda left him at the same time. On the other hand, I've been released from the curse of Amanda and Scott. and I'm living a happy life with Elizabeth.
Hey, where the hell are you right now? Well, who knows? Don't mess with me! There's nothing of ours in the house. What's going on? Well, that's because I took all of my stuff and left. Huh? I don't understand. Why would you do that? Well, we got divorced, so there's nothing strange about me leaving, right? Huh? Divorced? I filed the divorce papers. What? My name is Claire, a 35-year-old high school student. Just kidding. I'm actually an office worker. I have a husband named Evan, and we've been married for 5 years. Evan used to work as a company employee, but he quit his job about 2 years ago and started his own business. However, the business hasn't been doing well, and we've been in the red for the past 2 years. But my income is pretty good, so we're managing to get by. Our relationship as a couple is average, not particularly bad. The problem that I feel is the horrible attitude of my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, who live in my husband's family home. Every time I meet with my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, they mock my appearance and complain about something. Each time, I feel sad and stressed. My in-laws' home is about a 10-minute drive from the apartment where my husband and I currently live, and my husband often takes me there. At the beginning of our marriage, I put up with going to my in-laws' house for my husband's sake. But their bullying has gotten too much recently, so I've started to talk back. Even so, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law don't back down. And my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, they always try to extort money from me for something. Hey Claire, I have a friend's birthday coming up. I want to buy a present, so could you give me $500? Huh? $500? What are you buying? I'm gifting a trip. I'll be going along too. No, that's strange. It's basically like I'm giving the gift, and I can't afford to give $500. You're really stingy, Claire. What are you, a miser? Seriously, even though Evan supports her. Excuse me? I'm the one supporting him. My husband hasn't contributed 1 cent to our living expenses in the past year. And you, sister-in-law, get a job. You're a NEET at your age. Why does my mother-in-law accept my sister-in-law's NEET status? I wanted to spill out all of these thoughts, but my husband interrupted. Hey Claire, I have a friend's birthday coming up. I want to buy a present, so could you give me $500? You really understand, Evan. I'm touched. You're a good son. Then can I also get about $300? There's something I want. Sure, that's fine. Claire, you should have about $300 in your wallet, right? Come on, give it to her quickly. Whether it was due to his pride, my husband made me hand over the money to my sister-in-law without any hesitation. Moreover, my husband started saying incomprehensible things like, "Thanks to me, we can live this luxurious life." I can't keep up with my husband's recent actions. On the way home in the car, I pointed out to my husband, "Why do you put on such a show?" "I have my pride as the eldest son." He began to say more absurd things. From there, it turned into a significant argument. Basically, once you give them money, they start to become overbearing. What's wrong with making my own mother happy? We can't afford to live that luxuriously, you know? Do you understand? You're not contributing at all to our living expenses. So what? We got quite a bonus this summer. Don't rely on that. That money is for savings. Since then, my husband and I have completely fallen out and often fight. How can my husband act so arrogantly while still running a deficit? Why can't he stand not being in a position above me? His bad points started to stand out more and more. I thought there was no need for me to do things I disliked for such a guy. So when my husband recently said, "Hey, we're going to my mom's," I replied, "Go by yourself." My husband started spouting some strange theory, saying, "What are you talking about? It's normal for the wife to come too." But when I retorted, "So you're abnormal because you don't come when we go to my parents' house," he clicked his tongue and said, "Do whatever you want," then went back to his parents' house alone. A weekend free from my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. How comfortable and pleasant that is. Since I had time to myself, I did a lot of groundwork for my dream. That dream is to buy my own home. I gathered information online and ordered pamphlets. My dreams and hopes were expanding. I was excited just thinking about the new house. I want to furnish it with these kinds of items. While gathering information about furniture like sofas online, I imagined placing the furniture I chose with care in my new house over and over again. Doing such things, time flew by, and before I knew it, it was evening, and my husband had returned. Oh, welcome back. Huh? Oh, is he still angry? How petty. He should be more mature as a man. I had no intention of pleasing my husband, so I didn't speak to him after that, and started making dinner. Then my husband suddenly started talking. You've been pretty cheeky lately. Huh? You're defying me, saying you don't want to meet my mother and the rest. Defying? We're equals as a couple. Plus, your mother and the others always pick on me, so I don't want to go to your parents' house anymore. That's what I'm saying is cheeky. Normally, wives listen to their husbands. If you say you can't do that, it's divorce. Huh? Divorce? Ha! Surprised? You don't want to be divorced by me, do you? But I'm seriously angry at you. I've already signed my part, so it's ready to be submitted at any time. I'll let it slide just this once. But if you defy me next time, it'll be an immediate divorce. Reflect on that. Saying that, my husband smirked and ordered, I'm going to take a bath. Hurry up and make dinner. Once I confirmed he was in the bath, I couldn't help but cheer. Yes! Now I can break up with that man anytime. I made dinner in high spirits. From then on, I worked hard to save money. I was almost ready to pay the down payment. It was hard to keep my excitement hidden, to stop my face from smiling, but in front of my husband, I did my best to keep calm. And finally, I bought a house under my own name. All that's left is to get a divorce after the house is finished, and leave the house where I live with my husband. I started packing my things, little by little, without my husband noticing, and sent them to my parents' house for the time being. I had told my parents everything, and they understood my situation. And finally, the house was completed. When my husband went back to his parents' house as usual on the weekend, I moved all my things to my new house. The new house is very comfortable, and both the interior and exterior are just as I imagined. As I enjoyed the pleasant smell of a new house all day, my husband called me that night. Hey, where are you? Well, where could I be? Don't mess with me. There's nothing in the house. What's going on? Well, I took all my things and left. What? I don't get it. Why would you do that? Well, since we're divorced, it's not strange for me to move out, right? Huh? Divorced? I've submitted the divorce papers. What? We're strangers now. Don't mess with me. I won't accept that. But you're the one who said we can divorce any time. As a businessman, you should take responsibility for your words. Anyway, this is the end for us. With that, I hung up the phone. Finally, I was free from my husband. That night, I was able to sleep soundly. Living in my new home was very comfortable, and every day I was able to wake up to fresh and have pleasant mornings. Today, I decided to invite my parents to my new home for the first time. As I was cooking alone in the kitchen, my father and mother came with a bottle of celebratory sake. Both my father and mother were surprised to see my new home, and then the three of us toasted. Even though it was a bit early, we started a party. Suddenly, the intercom of the house rang. Huh? Who could it be at this time? When I checked the intercom, there was my ex-husband, ex-mother-in-law, and ex-sister-in-law. Why are you here? From today, my parents and I will live here. My father is in the hospital now, so when he's discharged, he will live here. Open the door right now. No way, that's ridiculous. Why would I have to do that? Please, leave my property. Immediately. Then my ex-mother-in-law stepped forward. You cheeky girl. Listen, what's yours is mine. If you understand, open the door. What are you talking about? I'm single, you know. Huh? Did your son not tell you? We've already filed for divorce. We're strangers now. What? The ex-mother-in-law and ex-sister-in-law turned to look at my ex-husband. He seemed to be explaining something to them. I couldn't tell for sure through the intercom screen, but he was probably saying something like, "I don't accept this." I said, "Anyway, you can't enter this house. Please leave," and hung up the intercom. Then my ex-husband started shouting through the front door, "Open the door! I want to talk!" As I was wondering what to do to get rid of him, a police car pulled up in front of my house, and they took my ex-husband into custody. The police seemed to have taken him into custody. When I opened the front door, I saw my ex-husband being pinned to the ground, desperately resisting. It hurts! Why is this happening to me? My ex-mother-in-law and ex-sister-in-law were shocked to learn that their son was divorced and stood there, stunned. They weren't arrested, but they were escorted away in the police car. After watching my ex-husband and his family being taken away, I went back inside the house. I wonder who called the cops. Then my father made a peace sign. In situations like this, you call the police immediately. Trust my always calm dad. We resumed our party with a fresh round of drinks. As for how my ex-husband found out where I live, it seems he followed me home from work. Because he confessed to stalking me, if he shows up again, he'll be arrested on the spot. With his timid personality, he probably won't come near this house again. I also got a restraining order against his family. After that, it seems my ex-husband's business didn't go well, and he's just been piling up debt. With the divorce, the money he and his family had been mooching off of me was gone. And with his father in the hospital, they had no income, so it seems they had to sell their house. It's really a case of getting what they deserved. On the other hand, I invited my parents to live with me in my new home. My parents are very happy, saying I've been incredibly filial, and they are enjoying life in the new home. I want to continue to cherish my parents and live happily as a close-knit family.
You and your child are not cute at all. Get out of this house right now. Huh? This house is... I stopped mid-sentence. Understood. Saying that, I began to pack my belongings. My husband looked flustered as he watched me. Hey, you don't have to leave just like that. But your dear mother-in-law told me to leave. I have to obey her, don't I? Matt, don't bother with that woman. Come over here and let's eat cake. My mother-in-law had a triumphant look on her face. I decided in my heart to break her nose and take my daughter back to my parents' house. My name is Jennifer, a 34-year-old office worker. I married a man named Matthew 2 years ago. We met through a trendy dating app and became a couple after a year of dating. My husband is a little unreliable, but he is a very kind and attentive man. When we were dating, he would research restaurants I wanted to try and plan our dates in advance. After we got married, he would wash the dishes when I was tired or buy me my favorite dessert. About a year after we got married, we had a cute daughter, and my husband actively took care of her. I thought I had found a really good husband. But of course, nobody is perfect in every way. My husband has several flaws. The most problematic of them is that he's a mama's boy. At first, I felt that my husband might be a mama's boy because of his taste in cooking. How is it? Delicious? It's pretty good, but my mom's was a bit richer, I think. Huh? Your mother? I wondered why my mother-in-law's name suddenly came up, but as I listened to him, it seemed that he thought his mother's taste was the best and wanted me to get as close to that taste as possible. Overall, my mother-in-law's cooking seemed to be on the richer side, so for now, I decided to make the dishes richer as my husband requested, even when we went on trips. What should I buy for my mom as a souvenir? He would say. Although his father was also around, I thought it would be more normal to say, what should we buy for our parents? But my husband always started with, for my mom. I think it's good to take care of one's mother and that there are quite a few mama boys out there. But I would later find out that my husband's attachment to his mother went beyond the normal range. I think we should live with my mom. Wait, what? Why all of a sudden? It seems like my mom and dad are getting divorced. What? Really? Apparently, it's because of my dad's infidelity. Oh no. My father-in-law seems so kind, but I guess you can't judge a book by its cover. It's so sad to leave my mom alone, and if we live together, she can help take care of our daughter. That might be true. I'm on parental leave now, but if my mother-in-law supports us, I might be able to return to work sooner. But I was a little worried. Does my mother-in-law like me? Can we get along well if we live together? I talked to my husband about my honest feelings. Then my husband said, "Don't worry, it'll be fine. My mom was praising you, Jennifer." My mother-in-law had praised me. I was happy to hear that and thought we might be able to get along well living together. However, I quickly realized that my thinking was naive. My mother-in-law moved into the apartment we lived in and suddenly started treating me rudely. I can't believe you got to live in such a nice apartment. It's annoying. Huh? Don't you ever forget that you have this life thanks to my son? I didn't understand why she was yelling at me. Well, but Matthew's working hard and helping out with chores, so I guess I'm grateful. Since my mother-in-law's claim wasn't entirely wrong, I quietly replied, "Yes, I'll keep that in mind." At least you're obedient. That's good. From then on, my mother-in-law would yell at me whenever something bothered her. "You're supposed to put sauce on fried eggs. Why is there soy sauce? The bath temperature is so lukewarm. Set it hotter, please. Why isn't there any ice cream after a bath? Make sure to replenish it." No. Do it all yourself. Besides, the reasons for getting angry are too trivial. Despite being home all day, my mother-in-law barely does any housework. I'd hoped that she'd be more cooperative in taking care of our 1-year-old daughter, but she only does it when she feels like it and quickly loses interest. And after living together, I found out that my mother-in-law's overprotectiveness toward her son was even worse than Matthew's attachment to his mother. "Matthew, how was work today?" It was really tough. My boss was a bit on edge because we were so busy, so I had to be careful. Oh my, that's unforgivable. Should I protest against the company for allowing power harassment? Really? Over that? It's okay, Mom. We have to have a big heart and forgive. Oh, what a kind child you are, just like an angel. No, calling a man in his 30s an angel? Haha, thanks, Mom, but if I can't stand it anymore, I'll count on your help. Of course. No, that's too pitiful for the boss. To be protested for power harassment based on Matthew's mood? I immediately regretted living with my mother-in-law. I felt like I would go crazy if I stayed with her all the time. So I decided to put my daughter in daycare and return to work. "Why do you have to work too?" She got angry, but when I said, "But you can spend your day alone at home, right?" It seemed she felt there was some merit to it. Don't neglect your housework. She only said that and didn't get any angrier. Good grief, she's such a troublesome person. I never know what will set her off. After that, my stress was somewhat reduced as I started working and spent less time with my mother-in-law. But a problem arose about a year after we started living together. That day happened to be my daughter's 2nd birthday. We prepared a cake, gifts, and held a birthday party for her as a family. But my daughter had entered the terrible twos a little while ago. It's safe to say that it was at its peak during the birthday party. "Come on, here's a present, open it up." She handed my daughter the present while saying that. "No," my daughter said, batting the present away. My mother-in-law was surprised, but she held back this time, thinking that if the present didn't work, maybe the cake would. She scooped up a bite with a fork and tried to feed my daughter. "Here, it's your favorite shortcake." But yet again, my daughter said, "No," and swatted the cake away with her hand. Then the cream flew and landed on my mother-in-law's forehead. The short-tempered mother-in-law flipped out at my 2-year-old daughter. "Enough already. You're getting carried away because I'm being nice to you." My daughter started crying as she was suddenly yelled at. "What are you doing? She's scared." I quickly hugged my daughter and protected her. "Shut up. What an unlovable grandchild." "Well, then you're an immature grandmother." "What did you say?" Normally, a grown-up wouldn't say such words to a 2-year-old. "Shut up. You're such a cheeky daughter-in-law. Can't you fix that attitude of yours?" As we argued, my husband joined in. "Cut it out. Don't insult my mom." "Huh? You're siding with your mother in this situation? You should be protecting your daughter." "We can have more kids, but I only have one mom in this world." "You're the worst." What a trashy thing to say, as if it's a wise quote. "Hey, don't talk bad about Matthew. Neither you nor my grandchild are cute. Get out of this house." "Huh? This house is..." I stopped myself from finishing that sentence. "Understood." I started packing my things. My husband watched, flustered. "Hey, you don't have to leave." "But your precious mother told me to leave. I must obey, right?" "Matthew, don't bother with that woman. Come here and just eat cake with me." My mother-in-law had a smug look on her face. I vowed to break her nose, took my daughter, and went back to my parents' house. I ignored the several calls from my husband. I made preparations and sent him the divorce papers. He seemed to have filled them out as he sent them back. I submitted them to the city office right away. Then I called my ex-husband. "I submitted the divorce papers, so thank you for filling them out." "Yeah, so it's okay for me and my mom to keep living in this house, right? You guys left on your own." "Sure, as long as you pay the rent." "Ha, of course. This is the apartment you rented, so when you left last time, I was worried. But if I think about it calmly, all I need to do is change the lease to my name, right? Thanks for providing a comfortable place for me and my mom. I'm glad it worked out. By the way, how much is the rent?" "Well, let's make it about 150,000 yen, shall we?" "What? What are you talking about? Tell me the actual rent. Don't mess around." "I'm not joking. That's because I'm the owner of the place." "What?" "We talked about it when we got married, remember? I made quite a bit of money in stocks a long time ago and bought that apartment. You must have assumed it was a rental on your own." Matthew falls silent, seemingly at a loss for words. "If you can't afford the 150,000 yen rent, I'll just sell the place. That apartment will sell quickly." Wait. If you do that, where will my mom and I live?" "I don't care. You better leave quickly, or I'll report you to the management company." With that, she hangs up the phone, blocks her ex-husband's number, and later demands child support payments through a lawyer. According to the lawyer, her ex-husband looked gaunt and worn out. It must be tough for him, both mentally and financially, to have to pay child support, while also supporting his mother. Apparently, his mother accompanied him to the negotiations, and they spent the entire time blaming each other. "It's your fault." Even the close relationship between mother and son, which had seemed so disgusting, crumbled in an instant when they lost their wealth and comfortable lifestyle. Perhaps their bond was superficial all along. In any case, it's not her problem anymore. On the other hand, Jennifer sold the apartment for a surprisingly high price, saved all the money for her daughter's upbringing, and now works hard while living with her parents. She wants to find love again someday, but for now, her top priority is to earn as much money as possible for her beloved daughter. She also vows to learn from her former mother-in-law's example and not become overly intrusive in her daughter's life. Thank you for watching until the end. If you liked it, please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.
I couldn't stop worrying after I saw the news. It said the plane my husband was on, heading to a business trip abroad, had crashed. I tried calling him, but it wouldn't connect. Please, reply. Then, a casual message from my husband arrived. Just got here. I was so relieved, but that relief was short-lived, as the news reported right before my eyes. There are no survivors. What? What does this mean? Wasn't the plane safe? My name is Ella. I live with my husband, Caden, who I've been married to for 5 years, and our daughter, Mila, who will soon turn 3. I quit my job when I got pregnant, and now I'm a stay-at-home mom. Mila's terrible twos have passed, and recently she's been helping me out more. It was tough during the terrible twos, but now I'm happily raising her without stress. While my relationship with Mila kept improving, Caden and I spent our days rather indifferently. Lately, he seemed busy with work, only coming home to sleep. Sometimes, he'd return with a woman's perfume scent, maybe from entertaining clients at clubs. There were sudden call-ins and working on weekends, leaving him hardly any time with Mila. Papa, do you not like Mila anymore? I hugged Mila tightly as she muttered those words, gently stroking her head. Of course not. Papa is just really busy with work. He's working hard so we can live like this. Mila's birthday is on Sunday this time, and he promised to celebrate with us. So let's play a lot then. I couldn't bear to see lonely Mila, so I asked Caden to at least be with her on her birthday. I'll definitely take the day off. My husband said that, so I was looking forward to celebrating as a family. Mila's birthday is next month. We plan to invite my in-laws and celebrate together. My in-laws live a 15-minute drive away in the city, and since we meet often, Mila is very attached to them. Caden has a younger sister named Camilla, who has 2 children. While my sister-in-law also lives in the same city, my in-laws treat both their grandchildren equally and without discrimination. I hear there are people who favor their daughter's children over their daughter-in-laws. If the grandchild is a girl, some even pressure the mother to have a boy to carry on the family name. That's why I'm nothing but grateful for my in-laws, who love Mila without discrimination. Then one day, my husband told me, I have a business trip abroad for 2 weeks, starting on the 8th next month. I immediately asked him to clarify. Wait, a business trip abroad? From the 8th for 2 weeks? Yes, to America. The flight will take more than half a day. As I looked at my husband, who seemed bothered, I couldn't hold back and confronted him. Hey, you know that Mila's birthday is on the 10th, right? We promised to celebrate together. I've already told her. Today she even looked sad, wondering if you don't like her anymore. Why can't he keep his promise to our daughter's birthday? Thinking about Mila's feelings is unbearable. I felt my blood boiling. I have no choice, it's work. If I could, I would have wanted to celebrate too. Caden's words made me realize. Seeing my husband's pained face, I apologized. You're right. I'm sorry. I just got a bit upset. I feel bad for Mila. As I said that, Caden patted my shoulder. I'll prepare a present. Let me know what Mila wants. My parents will be there, so she won't be lonely. And I promise we'll celebrate together next year. Okay, you better. I emphasized my point to my husband and decided to let it go this time. although I worry about Mila. I'll do my best to decorate and cook so she won't feel lonely without Caden. I talked to my in-laws about Caden's business trip and asked if they could stay over on Mila's birthday. And then, poor Caden, having a business trip on Mila's birthday. Leave it to us. We'll liven things up for her. Your father-in-law has already started preparing to stay over. My mother-in-law's response brightened my spirits. If this could make Mila happy, even just a little. The next day, I told my daughter about the overseas trip. As expected, Mila teared up, looking sad. But you know, Grandpa and Grandma will stay over for your birthday. I tried to sound cheerful, and in that moment, Mila's face brightened. It seemed to lift her spirits a bit. The day after Caden left for his business trip, my mother-in-law called. Ella, do you need anything for tomorrow? We've prepared a present and reserved a cake. But is there anything else you want? It must be hard preparing everything by yourself. If you need anything, just let us know. We'll come over early tomorrow. I was grateful for my mother-in-law's thoughtfulness and immediately thanked her. Thank you, mother-in-law. We just went shopping and picked out what Mila wants. We have decorations ready too, so it's fine. Thank you for the present and cake. It's no problem. We enjoyed choosing them too. Your father-in-law has been excited for a week already. I told him he's getting ahead of himself. Hearing my mother-in-law's words, I couldn't help but smile. I'm glad my in-laws are good people. Even without my husband, tomorrow should be a fun day. After chatting for a while, my mother-in-law changed the subject. By the way, has Caden arrived yet? He said he'd be moving somewhere else after landing, right? He mentioned taking a smaller plane after arrival. He should be there by now, but I haven't heard from him yet, so maybe his flight is delayed. I checked the flight number my husband had given me. I'll look it up once I finish talking to my mother-in-law. Just as I thought that. Ella, was Caden's business trip to America? I sensed something unusual in my mother-in-law's suddenly trembling voice. Yes, it was. What's wrong? Turn on the TV right now. They're reporting on a plane crash in America. What? I hurriedly turned on the TV, and the emergency news report was covering the plane crash. In shock, I dropped the phone from my hand. Hearing my mother-in-law scream, I hastily picked up the phone. Ella, calm down. It's not certain that that's Caden's plane. You're right. But even as I said that, I was overwhelmed with anxiety. What should I do? If something happened to him? The news anchor mercilessly presented me with an unwanted fact. They mentioned the same aircraft name as my husband's flight. Mother-in-law, this is the plane that Caden was on. What? What should we do? Caden! Faced with the unbearable reality, I collapsed to my knees. I felt my mouth rapidly drying up, tears flowing from my eyes before I knew it. Ella! My mother-in-law's loud voice pulled me back to reality. Ella, stay strong. We don't know what's happened to Caden yet, do we? Call him first. I'll hurry over to your place right now, so calm down, understood? Yes. After hanging up with my mother-in-law, I immediately called Caden, but all I heard was the empty sound of the call ringing. No way. How could this happen? Why won't he answer the phone? Desperate, I texted my husband, "Are you okay?" I tightly clutched my phone with both hands, staring at the screen. Then, I just arrived. Miraculously, I received a text from Caden. Thank goodness. I really mean it. Thank goodness. Relief washed over me, and tears flowed. I heard these words coming from the TV I left on just after I started typing a reply. Furthermore, there are no survivors. What? No survivors? What does that mean? Even though it was supposed to be the same aircraft Caden was on. Unable to stand it, I stopped texting and tried to call him, but it wouldn't connect at all. Why won't you answer the phone? When I switched to texting, I received a reply from him via text. Well, I just arrived at the airport, and I have to pick up my luggage and stuff. How could he not care about my feelings? My anxiety and anger mixed, and my irritation grew. The news said that there was a plane crash. I was really worried. Please, even if it's just for a moment, answer the phone. Show me your face on a video call. Crash? I'm fine. I'll call you later. I have to move now. Caden sent me such an indifferent text. After that, even when I sent him messages, there were no replies. Even though I'm so worried. For now, since I was able to confirm his safety, I'll accept that. But my feelings were instantly chilled by a call from my mother-in-law. Before heading over, I tried contacting Caden's company. They said he's on a long-term vacation. A business trip abroad. What's that about? That's what they said. At my mother-in-law's words, I realized everything. So, that's what it was. The long-term business trip to America was a lie from the start. Since our marriage, had I ever felt such hatred for my husband? Mother-in-law? Determined, I decided to reveal everything to her. How he hardly ever comes home. How he shows no interest in his family. And now, how he came home smelling of women's perfume. I had been reluctant to suspect infidelity based on the perfume smell alone, and tried not to think about it. But when he takes a long-term vacation and lies to his family about a business trip abroad, I can't help but think of anything other than infidelity. My mother-in-law was openly angry at my conclusion. That stupid son. We were the fools for worrying about him. Ella, come to our house. It must be tough for you and your daughter to be there alone, right? I accepted my mother-in-law's proposal. After the move had settled, my in-laws apologized to me again. Even my sister-in-law, who heard the story, came over and cheered me up. I felt the kindness of my in-laws once more. Even though everyone else is so good, why Caden? I couldn't help but think that. Afterward, I hired a private detective to gather evidence of his infidelity. Then, a photo of him at the airport with his affair partner was sent to me. Unforgivable! He really was cheating on me after all. Caden called me 2 weeks later. Hello. Where are you? I just got back from my business trip, and I can't open the door. Can you come here and unlock it for me? Thinking I hadn't noticed anything, my husband's voice was utterly indifferent. To him, I presented the harsh reality. Even if I went, I couldn't open it. I don't have the key, and even if I did, the old key should have already been replaced. Huh? Replaced? What do you mean? What are you talking about? You're Ella, right? I could clearly sense Caden's agitation through the phone. I moved out. I can't be a family with a cheating man who goes on a cheating trip on our daughter's birthday. What are you talking about? As my husband tried to play dumb, my anger surged. Do you think I don't know? I know everything. I know you took a long-term vacation from work, and that you went to Europe, not America. Calm down, Ella. There must be some mistake. Oh, right. Mr. Cruz took a long-term vacation. Maybe you got me confused with him. Do you think you can fool me with that? You really underestimate me. Well, of course. You've been cheating while saying you had to work overtime and go to work on weekends? Unable to hold back, I raised my voice. In truth, I wanted to scold him more harshly. But my head was hot, and I could only convey the facts. I'm divorcing you, and I'll make sure you pay alimony and child support. As I declared that, I heard Caden scream. Wait, please. What? In response to my question, he spoke hesitantly. I'm sorry. I did cheat on you, but it was just for fun. The one I truly love is you, Ella. I feel sick. Huh? I could hear my husband's fading voice. My words seemed to have struck a chord, but it's not enough. I still have more to say. Nice acting, but there's no way I'm going to believe the words of someone who prioritized a cheating trip over our daughter's birthday. Did you think you'd be forgiven if you said it was just for fun? Stop it. I will never forgive you or your affair partner. Then Caden, with a completely different tone from before, snapped back irritably. Huh, I'm the only one apologizing here, and you're acting all high and mighty. Who do you think you have to thank for the life you have now? You'd be the one struggling if we divorced. Don't make a big deal out of just cheating. Birthday. You're so annoying. Is a birthday that important? At that moment, my sister-in-law Camilla snatched the phone from me. There's no way she'd want to be with someone who can't even cherish their own daughter's birthday. Huh? Camilla? Why are you with Ella? My husband seemed surprised by the sudden appearance of my sister-in-law. But that's not the end. There's still another surprise. I'm here too. Huh, Mom? I'm here too. And Dad too? I then revealed the truth to my husband. We knew you couldn't come home. We thought you'd definitely call. So we all waited together. Your sister's husband is looking after Mila. My father-in-law then yelled, "You're no longer a son to us. Don't ever set foot in our house again." Following that, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law began to pile on. "Your belongings are being stored in our shed. Come get them if you need them. If you don't come by tomorrow, we'll throw away everything that's left." Big brother, what you're doing betraying Ella, filthy. The worst. Don't ever be involved with us again. Wait, everyone. I was wrong. It was just a moment of weakness. I'm sorry. Please don't say things like that. My husband seemed to be seriously hurt by my in-laws' words. His trembling voice, on the verge of tears, tried desperately to cling to something, but no one was willing to forgive him. I yelled at him, "It's unbearable to be cheated on because of a moment of weakness. You've been cheating for a long time and you're still lying. How much do you need to make fun of people to be satisfied? Stop it, you cheater. If you don't agree to the divorce, I'll take you to court." Then my husband panicked, saying, "Please, no court," and agreed to the divorce without fuss. The next day, Caden appeared at my in-laws' house and prostrated himself at the entrance. But the family only sent cold stares. Unable to endure it, he left with only the bare minimum of his belongings from the storage. After that, I made a lump sum claim for damages against him and his affair partner. Once the affair was discovered and damages were claimed, the affair partner apparently dumped Caden right away. I broke up with him, so please forgive me. Although she tried to negotiate, I had no intention of giving up on the damages. She ended up with a large debt and reportedly began working in the night industry. Once the affair became known at the company, my husband, unable to withstand the stares of others, chose to resign voluntarily. That being said, he still needs money to pay for the damages and child support. I've heard he's now working from morning till night, with no time for leisure. As for me, I still live with my in-laws. They treat Mila and me kindly, just as they did before. I'm determined to do my best to repay their kindness someday.